Now, on that subject of telling it better, I mean, one of the things that you brought out was this notion about how data can give us a much quicker read. It's faster, it's easier to absorb. And I know you mentioned to me, Susan, that organizations still sometimes they don't think about that crisp communication of data. And sometimes they're even averse to it, that they feel like they should have that 50-page report. Um, and shouldn't have that succinct summary, that sort of shot in the arm. What advice would you give organizations that just have that aversion to communicating data effectively and succinctly?
Well, first of all, I would ask people to think about the changes we've seen in communication over the last 25 years, really since the advent of the internet, since the spread of social media, et cetera. It's had a collective impact on all of us, just in terms of first of all, our bandwidth, our ability to absorb information, particularly now during the pandemic, when so many of us have been consigned to these virtual modalities of learning. But our attention spans are shorter than they once were. Our reliance on visuals has increased. Our desire to sit still for longer periods of time to absorb almost anything has decreased. So it's just the way the world is. And not to mention that we've all started to gravitate even to things like textees, using text style language to communicate. I'm ashamed to say I probably 5 times a day write an email that says LMK, let me know, right? It's because that's the way we communicate now. Things are being shortened, made more crisp, and we've all been driven to this through the changes in communication that the internet has brought about. So if you think there are people out there who are desperate to sit still long enough to read your 50-page report, more power to you. I have sometimes joked, even in my own organization, that we should put a line in our reports on about the 40th page saying, if you get this far, call this phone number and we'll give you $50, just to test out whether somebody is actually getting that far. We probably, some very small percentage of people are, but it's a small percentage. So thinking about ways to take, even if you need to do the 50-page report, having a executive summary at the top that also has a very powerful visual component to it, particularly communicating the data or the key points or the key takeaways, is just phenomenally important. And again, if the report itself is based on data, we have an enormous opportunity now to take that data and really make it sing in a way that's going to stick with people much better than expecting them to wade through a 50-page report.
I like how you noted too that even if you have to have that 50-page report, and I often when I'm working with clients, I do find that it's hard to persuade them to get rid of that 50-page report. But I think what you're noting is you can still have that if you want. But what we're recommending is something that's going to be in addition, that's going to be additive to that. That's going to be the envelope, in essence, that's going to get people to open it up and help people pay attention.